So today, and my name is BC Clark. I'm Director of Training and Client Development for Nebraska Enterprise Fund. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the forgiveness for the PPP. So if you were one of the lucky ones and you were able to get PPP, today we're going to kind of walk through how you can be forgiven for your PPP. Um, just waiting to see if we had any others on. And and so we'll just keep going here. If you have any questions, you can just chat, and Leo or someone will get those, and maybe we'll just answer those at the end. So um, I think before we really get started with the number one thing is that if you did get a PPP, you will have to fill out the forgiveness application form that you have. Now, but before we go into the forgiveness part, I want to kind of talk a little bit, just review the terms of the PPP. So, because a lot of people are confused about it and they're still asking questions. And also to let you know, there is still money for the PPP. So, if those of you that have not had an opportunity to apply, June 30th is the deadline to apply for the PPP. So, make sure that if you haven't, you go ahead and apply now. And if you haven't applied for any of the other ones, check those out. I think they have limitations or deadlines on those as well. So when we talk about the PPP, we're going to kind of talk about the loan amount. So basically what they're saying is that the loan amount that for the PPP is based on your average monthly payroll cost for 2019. And this may be repetitive to you, but there are some people that just are not quite sure about it. You can receive 2.5 times that amount to help cover 8 weeks of payroll or 24 weeks with the Flexibility Act as part of PPP. But we'll talk about the 24 weeks a little later. Now, the funds can be used for payroll. And when I say payroll, it's not just that weekly or monthly or however you pay, but it is the salary, the wage, vacation pay, family leave, medical, sick leave, and health benefits. So all of those go into payroll. So all of those would be eligible and forgivable under the PPP. So the funds that can be used for any of those things. Now, and also, and we'll talk about this, at first it was 75% that had to go to payroll, but that has changed. So right now, what we have is with the Flexibility Act that they just approved a few weeks or last month, is that it's 60-40 now. And I'll talk about the 60-40 rule later. But now it's 60% that goes to be spent on payroll, which all the things that I just stated up there, and then 40% for other. And we'll get into that as well. So if you're having mortgage interest, as long as that mortgage was signed before February 15th of 2020, it will be eligible and forgivable. And if you are leasing a building and your rent lease was signed before February 15th, 2020, that would be forgivable as well. Now, we talk about utilities. As long as the service began for your utilities on 2/15/2020, you should be fine as far as getting that forgiven. Sorry about that. All right. So now let's talk a little bit. So I did mention the 24 weeks a little earlier. There was 8 weeks that you had to have covered. Now they're talking 24 weeks. That was something that was added after. There were a lot of complaints because people were saying 8 weeks, is it the beginning of March or when is it? How does this work? And for those people that were late filing the PPP, they would not have been able to really get and take advantage of it. So and this is what it is. Eligible expenses that were incurred over 24 weeks, starting from the day the first payment was made by your lender. So it's not the day that you signed the paperwork for the PPP, but the first day that you received payment from the lender. And usually it went into your bank account. So whatever day that was, that amount showed up in your bank account. Expenses incurred for 24 weeks from that time starting on. So if that was in April or March, you just 24 weeks and that will be covered. All payroll your employees incur over 24 weeks is eligible. And that's even if the actual payout date is outside of the 8 weeks. Now just remember, December 31st, 2020 is the final cutoff date. Now, some of those who will be applying for PPP and get that disbursements July 16th or later, you won't be able to take advantage of the full 24 weeks, but you will be able to find your 8 weeks time within that period. So here's some suggestions that we wanted to make sure that people knew, whoever had received the PPP. Number one, you needed to either have a bank account that was dedicated just to the funds that you received for the PPP, so that you would be able to identify what funds were what. By keeping them separate, you can know only payroll came out of that, or only some of the other things that came out. But that's one thing that I want you to know, is that you needed a dedicated bank account specifically for that, for those funds, so that you could keep track. Because keeping track is going to be really crucial to you getting the loan forgiven. The other thing is that if you don't do any bookkeeping, hire someone that can do the bookkeeping of those funds for you, so you have some documentation that they will ask for and require when it's time for the loan to be forgiven. So you want to look at those two things, make sure that bank account is separate and those funds are going directly to what it's supposed to. So payroll, mortgage, rent, lease, all those utilities, and there's a whole host of things that is in the forgivable items. So just make sure that you're spending it the way it should be spent. You want a separate account, and I think we talked about that, so keep track of documentation. So don't be afraid to keep going with that and making sure that you're keeping track of everything. That's what's going to be critical. Record keeping is going to be key for this particular program to be forgiven, for this loan to be forgiven. So I want you to know that that is something that they're looking at. And if you can't prove that the money went to specifically what it said, then that's where you probably run into some issues, okay? All right, so now the 60-40 rule used to be the 75 to 25 rule. So before, when the PPP first came out, you had to have 75% that was dedicated to payroll, which meant for wages, sick leave, vacation, and all the things that I talked about earlier. But now, after that act, it's 60% has to go to payroll, 40% goes to other, and that could be your mortgage, interest, your rent, lease, all that's eligible. Again, those things that were signed prior to, at least by February 15th. Okay, so you want to make sure that that was happening, and so that's the 64 rule. 60% must be used for payroll costs. Okay, and then I think that I need to get my headphones. Okay, are we having any difficulty, Leo? Can you hear me well?
I can hear you spotty. I'm streaming on Facebook, so, but I can hear you very spotty.
Very spotty. Does that mean that it's going in and out?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I don't have my headset, but I will get my headset if someone would get it to me right away. All right. So, so again, 60% must be used for payroll costs, and if you have 1099 employees, they cannot be included in the PPP. They can't be included in your payroll costs. So that's completely separate, and I make sure that that's stated because I've had a lot of questions about that. Your forgivable amount will scale in proportion to the amount you spend on payroll, up to the total loan amount. So that's something that you want to make sure that you keep track of, so that you make sure that everything is forgiven. You really want this loan to be forgiven, and so we want to make sure that that happens. I'm going to go on mute for just a second. I need to get my headset so that I'm a little clearer.
BC, I think you're muted.
Well, I'm just having too much fun, aren't I? So let me go back. Your forgivable amount will scale in proportion to the amount you spend on payroll, up to the total amount that you receive. So, so that's the 60-40 rule. That's what's applied. All right. Now, again, to be able to calculate and determine the average number of full-time equivalent employees you have, this is the formula right here that you can use, that you can kind of give you a determination whether or not you were able to meet the requirement of the full-time. All right. All right. So now here's a calculation, and I hope everybody can see this. So you're going to take A, which was 8-week period following your initial loan disbursement. You're going to divide that by B1. So B1 is February 15, 2019 to June 30th, 2019. You'll also do the same thing with B2, which is right here, okay? And whatever that largest number is the one that you'll use, okay? So, and we have this recorded. If you want a copy of the presentation, just let us know and we'll get that out to you as well, okay? All right, so I went too far here. So there is a rehiring grace period. We'll just talk about that for now. And the rehiring grace period, headcount reduction, pay reduction, I'm going to come back to those a little later on in the program. I want to kind of get to some of the things that are really, really important that I've already had questions on, and we'll come back to those. Okay, so just to let you know, we're not skipping it, but we need to come back to it later. All right, so this is the forgiveness of self-employed. So if you are self-employed, you are entitled to use the PPP loan to replace profits that you lost due to the COVID-19. Okay, and you are eligible to put in a month's worth of your 2019 net profit to replace whatever it was. If you had any other payroll expenses, anything, any factoring interest, any amount like that, you can do that, and you can spread that over the 24 weeks. Now, this is for self-employed. If you're using an 8-week forgiveness period, you'll do the same thing. You see the remaining PPP funds will go to your utilities, rent, and mortgage interest expense. So if you are self-employed, you are still eligible for the PPP. And the one thing that was critical on this one is that if on your Schedule C, it showed that you had a profit and you claimed your utilities and your rent and all of that on the Schedule C, those amounts would be eligible to be forgiven. Okay, so even though you are self-employed, you did have that ability to have some of that forgiven. Now, so the 24 weeks, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. The applications for loan forgiveness will be processed by your lender. So whatever bank that you got the PPP from, that's where you'll go back to, okay? And you'll need to fill out a PPP forgiveness application form. There are two, and I'll bring those up a little later. I have both copies, and I can even send it to you while you're online. There's a short version, and then there is the long version, the original one that they put out. So you have to do that. Now, after you submit your application for forgiveness, the lender is required by law to provide you with a response within 60 days. Okay, and that's critical because you don't want to be sitting around wondering if did I make it? Am I going to be okay? Can I move the? Was everything forgiven? So they have 60 days to make sure that it's forgiven. Now, the 2 times, they have the 8 weeks and the 24 weeks, and I want to talk to you a little bit about those. If you have the PPP loan, the payroll protection, the Flexibility Act is giving you 24 weeks in order to complete it. So if you got money in April, you would still be able, even May, if you got money in May or April, it was dispersed to you at that time, you still be able to take full advantage of the 24 weeks. However, if you will not be dispersed until July 16th or later, you won't be able to take advantage of that. But record keeping becomes a really, really huge deal because they're going to require all the documents for forgiveness. Okay. Now, I want to tell you, and this is something that we talked about. We did some record keeping classes earlier to try and help you mitigate being lost here when it comes to what documents are needed. So you want to make sure that you keep a record of every receipt that you use, everything you paid out for payroll, rent, utilities, and utilities were described. And so there's more than just the one, there's more than just the light and gas, but there were other things as well. There was mortgage interest, there was the rent, all of that. You have to keep records so that they can, and those records they will require for you to send. So I wish I'd have all that ready. I would scan it all because if it's going to the bank, they're going to want digital copies. So just scan it and have it ready so that when it's time for you to file it, when you send in your PPP forgiveness application, you have everything that you need. This is really so important. So don't wait till the last minute. Just keep going because December 31st, 2020 is the absolute last date for this. But your 8 weeks or 24 weeks may have come before that, and you want to get this done as soon as possible so you know if your loan is going to be forgiven. And I know people are sitting on pins and needles about that right now, so get it up fast so you don't have to worry about it. All right, so some of the documents that that you're going to need, right, to verify so that your loan is forgiven. So you have to verify the number of full-time equivalent employees on payroll and their pay rates for the period used to verify you met the staffing and pay requirements. Now, what is that period? That's that either 8 weeks or 12 weeks that you specified when you first filed for this PPP, okay? Payroll reports from your, someone else is doing your payroll, you'll need to get the reports from that provider. If you are doing them through your tax filing and doing QuickBooks, you'll need to pull it out of there. The payroll tax filings for Form 941 is going to be critical, so you're going to have to make sure you have that and making sure that that you have all the stuff that you need for that, okay? Now, okay, so documents verifying any retirement and health insurance contributions that you made, documents verifying that your eligible interest for your rent and utility payments were active in February. So, you know, if you started your rent or your mortgage, actual rent is started in May or April, it's not going to be forgiven. So it's only the ones from February to now. I think that date exactly in February is February 15th in order for it to be forgiven. So just remember that so that you don't have these oops when you send in stuff, okay? The documents that are verifying the eligible interest, rent, and utility payments, in canceled checks, any payment receipts, any account statements, you'll need all of that. By having that separate account, you will be able to have documents right there at the bank because each time there's a withdrawal or what have you, it goes to a particular way and you can get copies of that. So that's why we were telling people to have a separate account just for the PPP so that they'd be able to get the documents and they'll be able to make sure that they had all the eligible documents they needed so that their loan was forgiven. If you're a sole proprietor, 8 weeks can be forgiven of loan as a replacement for lost profit. Okay, so if you didn't make it because of COVID, you were shut down and you couldn't do anything, you can get 8 weeks can't be forgiven. Okay, now even if you have more, but they will do up to 8 weeks. All right. And if you have questions, just let us know. I know this may be going pretty fast, but basically we wanted to make sure that we got the stuff that you needed, at least so you know what things to look for when you got ready to go into getting some things done. And you want to get this loan forgiven. So some of the things I want to say to you about the 24 weeks is that you do not need to adjust your payroll schedule. All payroll that your employees incur over the 24 weeks is eligible. So if you don't need to adjust any schedules, okay? Even if the actual payout date falls outside of the 8 weeks, that's easy. So you need to know that. So you don't have to worry about trying to, I need to adjust the schedule. No, don't. You don't have to worry about that. I think we talked a little bit about but I want to go a little bit further into some of the things that I'm going to show you, the two forms that I have for you for the forgiveness. Again, you must maintain the number of employees on your payroll that you stated in the PPP. And you've seen the calculation, so you want to make sure that you have that. If you get a number equal to or larger than 1, when you do the calculation, you successfully maintain your head count and meet this requirement. If you get a number that's smaller than 1, you didn't maintain your head count and your forgivable expenses will be reduced proportionally. Okay, so if you started out with 8 employees and you ended up with 4 or 6, then of course that's going to reduce your forgivable portion. Okay, so just know that that's there. I want to talk about exemptions and on rehiring. So employees who were employed as of February 15th and were laid off or put on furlough, they don't wish to be rehired onto payroll. If the employee rejects your reemployment offer, you may be allowed to exclude this employee when calculating your forgiveness. Okay, so there's a couple of things that you can do. Now, to qualify for the exemption, you must have made a written offer to rehire in good faith, and they have to be keeping the same salary wage that they had before they left or before they were laid off. Okay, and then you must have documentation of the employee's rejection of the offer. So what you have to do is have them sign a slip stating that they don't want to be rehired, and then that way you will be able to be exempted from adding that into the calculation. And that's really important because sometimes that can be like 3 or 4 employees and that can be costly. So if there are any other conditions that can get you exempt, is that if they were fired for cause or they voluntarily resigned at the time, they can be exempted. If they voluntarily requested to receive lower hours, that could be exempt. If they requested lower hours, that could be exempted as well. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about the pay requirements because I think that's a really big thing. Again, they're saying that you must maintain at least 75% of total salary. So whatever that total salary was, you want to maintain that so that you can ensure that your loan is forgiven. One thing that they talked about, and if this doesn't agree, don't worry about it. The requirement would be individually assessed for every employee that did not receive more than $100,000 in annualized pay in 2019. If the employee's pay over the 8 weeks is less than 75% of the pay they received during the most recent quarter in which they were employed, the eligible amount for forgiveness will be reduced by the difference between their current pay and 75% of the original pay. I know this is a lot of stuff, but you need to know it. And if you have any questions, again, we're available and I have our information. You can rehire any staff that were laid off or put on furlough and reinstate any pay that was decreased by more than 25% to meet the requirements for forgiveness. Okay, and you have until June 30th to do that, which is another week or so. Okay. Now, reductions in forgiveness amount. So spending your PPP funds on the right things is straightforward, right? You know what to spend it on. Okay, but things that get more complicated, you don't keep head count and employee pay levels the same. That's when the reduction will come in because you don't have records to prove it. All right, so let's look at head count reduction. So let's say you have 3 employees and they each made $3,000 per month. That means that your PPP loan amount was $22,500. 3,000 times 3 times 2.5. You had to lay them off in February due to COVID-19. If you only hire back 2 of the 3 employees, your workforce is 67%, which is 2/3 of your original head count. Over the 24 weeks of the PPP period, you spend $36,000 on your employees, more than your PPP loan amount. You claim the full $22,500 of your loan for forgiveness. And if we assume you do not qualify for any rehiring exemptions, when it comes to calculating your forgivable amount, because your workforce is smaller, your forgivable amount will be multiplied by 0.67. Now, you'll be able to have $15,075 forgiven. Okay, so these are important because when you start looking at some of this and it happens, you say, why am I getting only this, or why is this only forgiven? This is why. And all this information will be in this recording, so you can have it all. Pay reduction. So over the 24 weeks, again, we talked about the 22,500. Now, when it comes to calculating for the forgivable amount, we look at each employee's individual compensation. Now, the 75% minimum salary is $2,250. So you're paying each person $250 less than that each month. The difference is scaled up to a 24-week period. It's $250 times 6. So $1,500 would be deducted from the forgivable amount. Repeating that for each employee would result in a total of $18,000 forgiven. So this is really, really important. This is how things get forgiven. Now, this is get forgiveness for the self-employed individual. Now, you're entitled to use your PPP loan to replace lost compensation due to the impacts of COVID, right? Now, you're eligible to claim 2.5 months worth of your 2019 net profit to replace pay. If you didn't have any other payroll expenses factoring in the loan amount, then this means that your entire PPP loan could be forgiven for the 24-week period. It's really critical that you stay on top of this, because I tell you, when we get to going through all of this and you don't have everything that you need, this would be something that you want to go back and make sure that you're doing. If you have mortgage, interest, rent, or utilities expenses, you must have claimed or be entitled to a claim of deduction for those expenses on your 2019 form 1040 Schedule C in order to claim them for forgiveness. So if they're not on those 2019 Schedule C, you won't be able to have them forgiven. Okay? Now, let's do one example. So if you worked in an office space in 2019, you did not have home office, you could not have claimed a deduction on your home mortgage interest, okay? Even if you're currently working at home now, you're not eligible to claim home mortgage interest payments for forgiveness. And there's so much more. So after 24 weeks applying for loan forgiveness, and we can go on, this is to everybody now, applications for loan forgiveness will be processed by your lender. So whatever bank or credit union or whatever institution was that you got your PPP, that is who you need to contact. If you have questions, contact them now before it's due, so you'll know what things you need when it's time for the application to go in. If you haven't already downloaded the application, there is a 3508 EZ form as well as the loan form. The 3508 doesn't require as much information. I think a lot of the sole proprietors and people that did not have employees were using those, but I'm told that even if you had employees, you can use that form as well. They may require, the banks may require, whoever that financial institution is, may require some additional information. But anyway, you have the gist of what you need to do. Now, after you submit your application for forgiveness, your lender is required again to provide you with a response within 60 days. So they'll go through all of your information, they'll check out and make sure that things are verified. They'll let you know if the whole loan is forgiven or if it's only a portion. If you don't agree with that, you can supply additional documentation. I'm sure they will make sure that they go through that with you as well. But record keeping is required documents for forgiveness. You have to have the documents. Okay. Now, the required documents, I did talk about those a little bit earlier, that you'll need payroll reports from your payroll provider, your tax filings, Form 941. You'll need your income, payroll, and unemployment insurance filings from your state. Documents that are verifying any retirement and health insurance contributions that you made. Documents that have your eligible interest for rent and utility payments for accidents that were accident in February. Those, you'll need all of that. And any documents that that you needed, like cancel checks, payments, account statements, all of that. So we need to be very clear on what's needed in order to get our loans forgiven. And if you spend all of the money on payroll, that's okay. The whole loan will be forgiven. Some people, they spent all of it on payroll. They use their own money for the rent stuff, but their payroll got heavy and they used it all. Well, all of that's going to be forgiven. Because so if they got 80, whatever they got, it's going to be forgiven because all of it went to payroll. Okay. So again, the question now is, what happens if I'm not approved for forgiveness? Well, again, your lender may allow you to provide additional information, documentation, so that they can reevaluate the request. So even if you everything is not approved for forgiveness, just find out why. Don't just accept that it's not approved. Find out if there's additional documents that they need. Okay, they're supposed to respond and talk to you. So when you talk to them, they'll give you information. Otherwise, your outstanding balance will continue to accrue interest at 1% for the remainder of the 5-year period. So you do have 5 years to pay that off. Okay. Now, in order to apply for the forgiveness, you need to complete the forgiveness application form. Now, I have one that I think I'm going to pull up here. I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to see my speakers. Okay. I'm going to pull up one of the documents I have here. For the form. So let's go here. Now, this, let me share this. Okay, so here is the long form that is, I'm going to share this. So this is the long form that you have for the protection forgiveness form. Now this one goes through quite a bit. It is a very long form, and it kind of goes through, I think it's about 4 or 5 pages, but there are a lot of questions that you have to answer on this one here. So either one that you use, the short one is anybody can use it if they need additional that let you know. This one goes through quite a bit of stuff. So if you don't have this form, let me know, and we can send this to you as well. I want to look at one other one. So the 3508, let's make sure this is the 3508. It should be a lot shorter. No, this is the 3508. So let's go with this one. All right, so this is the 3508 easy form. So the easy form is about three pages, as you can see. This form here, you can put everything in that you have, and if everything is correct, it's easier. You can get it done faster. If you need this form, please let me know. We'll send this out to you, or you can go to sba.gov and pull it down from there. This one here seems not as complicated, and a lot of people really felt that they could, that they could use that one. And so a lot of people opted out to use this form. So if you have any questions, or if there's things that you want to know, please just kind of let us know what you need, and we'll get those. We'll get the information to you. Our information as well is on the right here, so you can contact us if you need. Here's our information right here. So again, any questions that you may have, you can let us know, and we'll get the information to you. Again, like I said, we do have the form, the applications, and anything else that you might need. So just let me know what you might need, and we'll get it to you. Okay. So that's all I have. If there's no question, okay, it's like there's one question. Oh, wrong window. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so if there's nothing further, again, I'm BC Clark with the Nebraska Enterprise Fund, and if you are looking for help on the PPP forgiveness, please let us know. Our phone number and all the information with the Nebraska Enterprise Fund, and our phone number is 402-685-5500. My extension is extension 201, or you can email us, bcc@nebbiz.org. Okay? All right, well, listen, thank you so much for being with us today. And again, if you need to contact us, our information is there. Please let us know. Thank you. Have a great evening.